It is the 15th day of October 2014. I'm Kamene Goro, and many thanks for joining us on Ebru African News this afternoon. As always, we have got quite a bit lined up for you in terms of what's been happening and what is happening in the world thus far. So let's hop straight to it. Now, in our top story, the National Assembly wants the government to develop a policy to regulate the border subsector in the country. Now, members of parliament, while discussing a motion to regulate the sector, said that although the thriving business has employed many young people, it has also turned our roads into death traps and an avenue of executing criminal activities.
This is an industry you can't ignore, because without this, Madam Speaker, we know the problems we face in this country with regards to employment. And Madam Speaker, the moment we get any sector that is able to absorb a significant part of our population, especially the youth, we need to encourage that sector to be able to even absorb and employ more of our people. And I'm just talking about direct employment. There are also indirect employment associated with the border. And therefore, if David Ochieng felt that the government needs to show commitment by first making sure that those who are involved in this industry are properly trained, because that is where the problem lies.
So we therefore need a situation where we have a government registration process where we know who owns what, where and how, so that in case there are cases such as those that have happened to people who have been attacked, or even that little Gabriel and others, then we can have some form of recourse.
This industry has been infiltrated by people who have criminal intents. Some have been using to snatch, and criminals have been using border. So it's very important that from the very onset, border operators are giving certificate of good conduct. Due diligence is done about somebody's conduct, about somebody's history, so that people know exactly that if you're operating in certain locality, you are known and you're not a criminal.
Moving on, the Beyond Zero campaign to raise awareness on the challenges surrounding HIV control, maternal, newborn and children's health in Kenya was in Wajir yesterday. Now, while handing over a fully kitted mobile clinic to the county, First Lady Margaret Kenyatta emphasized on the importance of child health care, especially in the county that has a reputation for cultural practices such as female circumcision and early child marriages. The campaign, spearheaded by First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, is also used to gather support and raise funds to increase access to HIV, maternal, newborn and children's health services, as well as raise awareness on the link between good health and the centrality of maternal and child health towards a strong and prosperous nation.
There could be no more fitting service to mothers than to ensure that they are provided with a safe environment and supported by skilled health care providers while giving life.
Now, with an estimated population of 670,000 people, Wajir is currently served by 7 sub-county hospitals, 21 health centers, 44 dispensaries, 1 public and 20 mission clinics and 22 private clinics. Now, the county lacks the capacity to deal with medical cases.
The realization that over 90% of women in Wajir County do not access skilled delivery services should motivate us to provide solutions to change this situation. Indeed, it is disturbing to note that less than half the number of expectant mothers attend the recommended antenatal visits in this area.
I will give you drugs.
The Beyond Zero campaign has received international acknowledgement with endorsements from the wife of former British Premier Tony Blair's wife, Cherie Blair. Now, the steps made by the First Lady have received a lot of support in Kenya, and more specifically from corporates.
But the sad reality also is that in this county, 500 women die every year giving life. at childbirth.
Now, the First Lady has been aggressive in her campaign to bring adequate and effective health care to women and children across the country, which in turn complements the presidential order that guarantees free maternity services at all public health facilities. Now, she further highlighted the need to address stigma in the community as a mechanism to encourage the treatment of HIV.
We have an obligation to confront the high levels of HIV and the related stigma amongst us. More than 600 people living with HIV in this county require support and access to life-saving medication.
Wajir has a dismal prenatal mechanism and even worse maternity facilities. As a marginalized community, not much attention has been given to the county.
I do acknowledge the challenges that nomadic lifestyles pose to the provision of quality health services to the citizens. I also acknowledge that with every health challenge we are presented with, we must find new and innovative solutions. This mobile clinic is one of the solutions that the county leadership is seeking to provide for better health of Kenyans living in Wajir.
Margaret Kenyatta has been instrumental in the decline of maternal-related deaths through her Beyond Zero campaign and has so far managed to raise a staggering 110 million shillings in the effort that is aimed at equipping all 47 counties with a mobile clinic, each at a cost of 500 million shillings in total. For Ebru Africa TV, I'm Kamene Goro.
I said you fuck. Why are you crying?
In rather remarkable news, American Express and Equity Bank have launched the first ever American Express facility in Africa. Now, the credit facility is specific to Equity Bank alone, providing its customers with supreme credit mechanisms and priority treatment in over 700 airports, lounges and lodges across the world.
As a bank, you could guess what we are feeling to have been given the honor and the privilege and the trust that we would carry the American Express brand on the continent. Would bring in 40 years the American Express brand to be issued in Africa. This reflects and demonstrates the confidence that the global community, the commercial world, has on Equity Bank and how well the Equity brand has traveled and is positioned globally.
Moving away from Kenya, Sierra Leone security forces clashed with angry residents of a densely populated neighborhood in Freetown who were protesting against the slow response to the removal of a corpse of a suspected Ebola victim from the street.
Residents said the body had been left unattended in the street for 2 days. The government of Sierra Leone was not immediately available to comment.
It has now been the habit that you can call the 117 and the contact tracers. For the rest of the day, you can't see them. So what the youth are now doing is they can block the streets, and then at the end of the day, when authorities are moving around, they can now call those who are concerned and actions can be taken place.
Security forces fired tear gas and rounds from AK-47 assault rifles to disperse the crowd that had barricaded the street in Aberdeen neighborhood in protest as the corpse of a woman lay in the street.
They cannot take the law to their hands. If they have problem with the 117, it is a place to call the police and explain their stairs so that we can explain to the IGP or call the team, the medical team to come over.
It was not immediately clear if there were any casualties from the clash. The World Health Organization estimate says the death toll from the Ebola virus outbreak has risen to 4,447, with a large majority of victims in West Africa. World Health Organization Assistant Director General Bruce Alward also said there could be up to 10,000 new cases a week within 2 months if efforts were not stepped up.
Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai has called on the Nigerian government to intensify efforts to free 219 schoolgirls who were abducted by militants 6 months ago. Now, she has urged the campaigners to raise their voices louder than ever to demand the freedom of the girls.
Boko Haram fighters abducted the girls during a raid on their boarding school in Chibok town in northeastern Nigeria in April. This sparked global outrage, and foreign governments including the US and China have sent experts to Nigeria to help track them down. In a statement, Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai said the schoolgirls needed to be reunited with their families and receive quality and safe education. Critics have accused the government of not doing enough to secure the release of the girls, a charge ministers have denied. The leader of the organization of Chibok parents, Hossein Lawan, struggled to hold back tears as he addressed a crowd of demonstrators, some of whom were also crying, and said government reassurances of an imminent rescue had originally given him hope, but the hope is slowly fading away.
I hope Mr. President will use his good office and to see those who are around him and trusted people to advise him. I know there is no leader who will be happy to know that his office is not working well. Mr. President, I would love that he will take a necessary action to see that our daughters are back now and alive. Chance of education, shape on you, Sarah.
Jonathan's administration has said the military is overstretched in the northeast and that a botched rescue would seriously endanger the girls' lives. Leaders of Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon and Benin announced plans to step up the fight against Boko Haram with an extra battalion and a command center.
Moving further south, Mozambicans are today voting for a new president, parliament and provincial assemblies in elections seen as the toughest test yet for the ruling Frelimo party that has been in power for almost 40 years. Now, while Frelimo is expected to win the election, analysts say that the opposition is likely to make significant inroads, reducing the party's overwhelming majority of 75% garnered in the last vote.
The elections are expected to see the dominant Frelimo party maintain power in one of Africa's fastest growing economies that is looking to escape years of poverty and conflict by tapping into its huge energy resources. 10.9 million people registered to vote for 27 parties and 2 coalition groups. Now, foreign donors and investors alike hope the ballot for a new president, parliament and provincial assemblies will allow the country to bury old animosities still lingering from 1975 to 1992 civil war fought between Frelimo and its old foe Renamo. Frelimo is a former Marxist liberation movement that has ruled Mozambique since independence in 1975, and its presidential candidate, former Defense Minister Filipe Nyusi, is campaigning hard to maintain the party's grip on power. However, he is facing a tough challenge from both the Renamo leader and former rebel chief Afonso Dhlakama and from a rising third force in the former Portuguese colony, Davis Sinmango, and his former Mozambique Democratic Movement. Now, if Frelimo Nyusi fails to secure more than 50% of the total ballots, he will face a deciding second-round runoff with his nearest contender, in which the anti-Frelimo votes would be united against him. Whoever wins Mozambique's election will oversee the bringing into production of large-scale offshore natural gas and oil projects in the north of the Indian Ocean nation, already being developed by investors, including United States oil manager Anadarko Petroleum Corp and Italy's Eni.
That wraps it up for Ebru African News this afternoon. Make a date with Michelle Morgan later on this evening for our primetime bulletin and a more in-depth and comprehensive look as to what's transpired in our world today. Many thanks for your absolutely scintillating company. I'm Kamene Goro. Up until next time, do have yourself one lovely, blessed afternoon.